Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Victoria with PunchPass, and we're here to talk about workshops and series as a way to inspire your community and get hopefully more customers, more interest, more revenue, and just get a lot more excitement going on in our lives with a special event or a special course. Just so you know that this webinar is being recorded. So if you do have to jump out at any point, we'll be able to send this to you as a recording, so you can check it out later. And we'll also be doing questions at the end. So feel free to add anything to the chat if you have any questions, and we'll take those again at the end. But feel free to write in at any time the moment strikes you. We're also going to be asking a question when the webinar is over. If you have any ideas for topics of webinars you'd like to see us cover in the future, definitely write those in there. I think that's everything, and we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're talking about workshops and series. We're talking about these special features within PunchPass and different opportunities that you have to offer something kind of fresh and new, especially as we move into the new year and we're looking at the year ahead, some things that you might want to get on your schedule and start marketing and getting the word out about, and kind of brainstorm together some ideas as to what we can offer and what we can do. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the major benefits of offering something a little special, a little different, something not your usual regular weekly classes, right? One of the things that these can do is attract new customers. So maybe we've been spending a lot of time focusing on trying to retain everyone for the past year, but as we're going into this new year, as we're thinking about new ways to improve our businesses, ways to attract new customers. One of the big things is, a special event, something that's maybe going to reach people that, your regular classes wouldn't reach, something that you can share. And it's a very tangible and limited amount of commitment, so that it might be a little bit easier for people to say yes and click that button to purchase. And that's really what we're looking to do here. It's also an opportunity to really change the way that people might look at your business and bring in a different level of expertise. So, you might be bringing in someone as a guest instructor for the workshop or series that you're offering, but you might also be taking your knowledge a step further in something like a workshop or a series. So it's a way for maybe people to look at your business a little differently, and a way for you to kind of really dig in and again, bring on a different level of knowledge to your events. It's also just nice to kind of switch it up and change it around a little bit. I think people are looking for something a little new, something exciting, something different, and just to feel like a little refresher, something a little different is going to be kind of a nice thing to bring. I think it's really nice and easy to market something like that, because it's different, it's new, it's special, and you can really focus on the newness of it and the special aspect of it, especially in that marketing campaign. It's also an option for a new revenue stream. This is potentially going to attract people who wouldn't do a regular membership or drop-in classes. You have that going on, that's great, but here's an opportunity to get paid up front for an event. Here's an opportunity to focus and get really invested in one particular area, or maybe diversify by bringing in new instructors or guest people to help, and that's just going to potentially give you a whole new area to market and to a new way to get paid. So maybe you've offered these in the past, and maybe things have kind of been pushed to sort of the backboard as you've been working on some other things, focusing on retaining people. But this is just an opportunity to kind of revisit this idea, or maybe visit it for the first time. If all you've done are weekly classes and this is something you haven't offered before, this is kind of a nice time to do it. I think people are excited about doing something a little different right now and trying something new potentially in the new year. So this is a good opportunity for that, and really something that we're going to focus on. So now the fun part is talking about content and what you could possibly offer and what this could look like for your business, because that's really what's exciting and get people excited about this in the first place. So it's an opportunity to step out of the box and do something a little different. Maybe you're really passionate about something and you haven't known how to work it in as a regular class, but for a workshop, like a weekend thing, or something kind of in a short amount of time that could work out for for how to bring that to your business, that might be another way to do it. And just kind of think of new things, think of things that maybe you don't know, but you know someone who does. It's a great opportunity to, again, bring something new to the table. Alternatively, you could also, kind of deep dive into something. So if you're kind of looking at what you currently offer and sort of the level of what you offer it at, you might say, hey, to take this to the next level, or if, your current customers, hey, do you want to go to the next level? Here's a seminar, here's a webinar, here's a whole way to get into the next level of this thing, to kind of get a little deeper. Maybe it's discussions. It's not all physical practice. It's something that you could do, kind of just to discuss and talk more and educate in another way. Some other things to think about is how to make this social. I think a lot of people are looking for social connections right now, and this is potentially, and we'll talk about the different ways that we can do this, but there's an opportunity to kind of get a little bit more social with this kind of event, with a workshop or a series where you could have a group of people going through it together. There's a lot of opportunity for people to have discussions, and maybe adding that as an aspect to what you already offer might be another way to change it up. Another thing to think about is rest and relaxation right now. Certainly you could go like, let's do an intensive, but some people might be looking for a little bit of a break. And maybe this is a way to kind of have a structured way to focus on mindfulness or meditation or breathing exercises. There's different ways to kind of get people to relax. And we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in popularity in that recently. So, something to think about as well. You could definitely go on the intensity end, but you could also think about ways to relax and kind of have this structured, thoughtfulness about it. You also might want to think about a takeaway. Is there a, something physical that people could receive for being part of some event or some special course? Or maybe it's digital, maybe it's files, maybe it's nutrition plans, maybe it's exercise extras, maybe it's personalized training, routines. There's different things that you could do as another way to kind of beef up the content, but also get people a little excited about joining up and signing up. And then also the opportunity to bring in an expert. If you're not the expert on something, but you think it would be a really big success, or you just happen to know someone, and this is the time, right? We've got people all over the planet who are looking, who are finding ways to share their passions differently and be more open with that and put it out there. And this is an opportunity where you can connect with those people and bring them in. It doesn't matter where they are, right? We can definitely do online classes. So that's, another opportunity. But really, it's all about driving excitement for the event. That's what the content is here to do. It's really where the thing is, what is it about this series? What is it about this workshop that's going to get people excited? It's the subject of it. So let's kind of talk about brainstorming right now, right? It's a lot of things we're talking to our PunchPass users about, and we're seeing become a lot more popular. It's a lot of different things that people might need right now. And I think one of those big things is a focus on mental health, right? In addition to physical health and working out, which is what a lot of PunchPass users often do for weekly classes, there's also maybe an opportunity to focus on mental health and taking care of ourselves. Maybe there's a therapist that or someone who's involved in different areas of this that you could bring in, and they could be your expert for that weekend session. And it's definitely something, again, as we talked about rest and relaxation, the mindfulness aspect, there's definitely a lot of people in PunchPass are offering these kind of opportunities. So I mentioned before, people are looking for that community, and maybe it's through screens, but it's a way to communicate and talk and have an experience with the same group of people multiple times, like in a course, and kind of build that cohort of people who are going through it together as a way to build that community up and have that feeling. We're also seeing a very big push to kind of develop healthy habits, right? It's not just because, January 1st, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions. It's also because people are in different places in the world, are feeling different levels of stress and experiencing different things right now. And whether they're at home and not able to really go out and do their normal things, setting a routine, building those habits, it's been really popular in terms of what we're seeing PunchPass users offer and what customers are interested in getting into right now. So something to kind of, a series about building those healthy habits might be a great way to start off your year of workshops and series. Meditation's a great addition to, we're seeing a lot of yoga businesses do this, add meditation and breathing as part of their practice or as a special part of practice. There's certainly different levels and different ways you can dive into this. And there are a lot of experts out there who probably would be really excited to get involved with you. So if this isn't something that you're currently offering, it might be something that you could partner with someone with, and again, bring in the expert and increase your own skills as well through this process. And similarly, nutrition, we're also seeing that as kind of part of the meditation, part of the healthy habits. People are looking at consults and discussions when it comes to nutrition. And that is a really easy way to kind of work in multiple topics into your series or event. It could be a conversation with a nutritionalist. It could be working on, specific workouts. And then, what do you do afterwards in the kitchen to make sure that workout, continues to do its job? There's all these different things I think people are really interested in right now because of where we're at and where we are right now. I think that there's a lot of opportunity here to get people excited. And again, might be going beyond what you currently offer. But let's, it's always good to brainstorm. We love hearing it. If you have any ideas, definitely feel free to throw them in the chat. We love to hear about it and share what other people are doing. And there's a lot of different ways this can look like, right? So it doesn't all have to be the same way you might offer something as a weekly class. It could be a one-time event, right? We could be doing a single workshop. We're doing this special thing. Maybe it's around a holiday. Valentine's Day is coming up. Perfect time to set up, that Heartbreakers Club, class or, meditation, something that you might want to do. Maybe it's couples online. There's different things that you could do around certain times, and kind of setting it up as a single event might be the right way to go. It could also look like a short daily meeting, right? Like almost a check-in or a kind of first thing of the day sort of short meeting, but it's kind of in a session with the same group of people, and it just kind of starts people out on the right way. Or maybe it's that happy hour time when everyone's kind of getting off work, and that's when you can sort of bring it all together and have a short meeting, a short practice of whatever you're offering for this series. Could also be a longer weekend session, and maybe that's a special event where you have multiple speakers at different times during, throughout the weekend, and that people can join when they're available. And that's maybe something to get people excited about, right? Like, oh, I actually have plans this weekend. That is cool. So maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to get your community excited. With the addition of the PunchPass content library, the ability to use video recordings is also a really great way to, introduce different ways to deal with the content or offering different content. So you can have your sessions and record them and make them available, because not everyone's going to be able to maybe make it to every single session. Or maybe there's extra recordings in addition to what they are already getting live. So there's a couple different ways that you can kind of set that up and offer that, but there's another way to kind of, be able to provide more than just the class. We've also been, seeing a lot of people looking into, community outreach and fundraising and donations. And this is an opportunity where, perhaps you're not looking at raising revenue right now for this one session, but it's a way to raise money for an organization in your community, something that means something to you, something that, you could even partner with. If you have a local organization that you want to reach out to, maybe there's a one-night event where you're doing you're offering your practice and it's a fundraiser and people are donating to that organization. Maybe that's to get people interested. Maybe it's something that matters to you in terms of your values as a business, but it's going to get you in front of different people. It's going to, get you their information. So potentially they start off with that fundraiser and then they get interested in some other series or event that you're offering. It's also, as we've been talking about community and what you can do there, the ability to schedule in chat time to these events and to these workshops it's really such a good opportunity because everyone is experiencing something special together. And so there's kind of this built-in ability to have a discussion, talk about what you've just done or talk about what you're excited to do. And it's another way to build that community and it's a little different than your regular weekly classes where maybe it's not something so unique and special that everyone's just kind of, the only thing they talk about is just what they're doing that day. But this way it's, people are meeting new people. It's a different group than you'd normally see. And there's this opportunity to have a great discussion. It's also an opportunity to collaborate with another business. So maybe it's not just bring an expert, but maybe it's a local business that you work with. If you're doing something in person, I've definitely seen a lot of people try to partner with like a local brewery, and that way they're getting customers in and you're highlighting your business and their business, and it's just really mutually beneficial. There's other ways that you can do that. Maybe you have a giveaway from a local company that's sponsoring the event. There's different ways that you can look for ways to make it exciting, make it a little bit different, and touch different people, right? There's going to be a different group from that business, and maybe now they're going to be knowledgeable about you and what you offer. Could offer different special rates for beginners, right? So maybe you're targeting people who are, you want to get new people who've never done this before, or you might be offering a special for returning customers, people who used to come to your classes and maybe they haven't been in a while. Maybe this is what you're going to target them and maybe offer a discount or something to kind of get people back in the swing of things. And as I mentioned, giveaways is just a nice way to kind of, think about what's going to get people excited to show up and sign up. Maybe it's a raffle. Everyone who's signed up is automatically entered. Maybe there's a benefit to doing something on social media there. There's a lot of different things we can come up with in terms of the content, in terms of ways to get people excited and interested in your special events. So definitely give that a think as you're kind of brainstorming what you want to offer. And another big part of setting up these events and workshops is figuring out what's going to work best for you and your community. And a big part of that is figuring out pricing. Pricing is always a bit of a challenge, and it's a lot easier, I think, to kind of say, okay, what is the regular going rate for a drop-in yoga class in my town? Now that's something you can probably figure out pretty well, but when you're looking at like, oh, we're bringing in a licensed therapist to do a special session on a weekend, and then we're doing breathing exercises every morning, maybe that's a little harder for you to kind of give it an idea or kind of put a dollar amount on it. So the things that you just really want to keep in mind is, how much time is it, right? So is it a lot of sessions? Is it one session? Is it 6-hour-long session? What are you offering in terms of time? Because that's really where the pricing is definitely going to figure and factor in. Definitely what we're seeing with this is that these tend to be pricier than just your regular average class, and people expect that. So definitely don't be afraid of that. I think previously there was a lot of it's just like 6-week sessions, right? A 6-week series, 6-week or 8-week program to kind of get people really committed to a particular aspect of fitness. And those tend to be going around somewhere between $250 and $750. It's sort of an average industry that we're, kind of pricing that we're seeing for something like a long event like that. So you might want to take that and kind of figure out, okay, if we're only doing 3 weeks, maybe it would be a little less, kind of be able to kind of do the math. And again, if you're hiring someone to come in, you might want to take that also into account, because we want to make sure you're making money on these events. And then in terms of timing, I know I mentioned, the 6-week, kind of 8-week programs that we were seeing a lot. I think we're seeing kind of a switch to kind of shorter sessions. Maybe like a 3-week series might be a sweet spot for you, or just a weekend thing, or a week-long, commitment. Because I think people are not always so sure about planning too far in the future right now, and we're kind of looking at things maybe a month at a time. So maybe keeping that taking that into consideration as to what people in your community are committing to right now is definitely something to consider. And then really thinking about how you're going to manage this. And a lot of that, hopefully we'll be able to show you, is in the PunchPass system as to what you can do to set this up, how you can, take that and run with it and market it and share out links and get people to pay. It's all part of that system that you have set up already, or might be considering setting up with PunchPass. So now we're going to go into the demo side of things and show you a little bit about what we have to offer. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is setting up a one-time workshop. So a one-day event, one kind of class. And we're going to go check that out now. To set up a workshop in PunchPass, you're going to want to set up the class type. So depending on what you're looking to offer, you can set up the class name, adjust the settings for the class, whatever you're looking to do, set the timing for it, add a class description if you want to enter information about what the workshop is going to be, and you can adjust your reservation settings. So if you're doing an in-person class, this might be where you want to limit the number of reservations accepted. We'll turn on the waitlist feature and we'll go ahead and click save. And now that I have my class type set up, I want to set up my class time. So I'm going to add a one-time class here because it's just the one-day workshop. And we can adjust our settings again. Whatever you have set up for your class rules will apply. But we'll go ahead and set the date and the time for this single class. Do that. And then as you can see, we can turn it to an online class, but this is an in-person one. So we'll just go ahead and add it. And then for workshops, what we see is really popular is instead of using passes, we're going to use the ticketing feature. So what that will do is it will set the price. So everyone going to book is going to book and pay the ticketed price for this workshop. And if I go into the class, I'm going to grab this public link here. So the link I'm going to be sharing out to my customers. And you can see here, here's the ticketed pricing. So people will sign up to book this workshop and purchase at the same time. Excuse me. So set up a workshop. So our next demo is on the series feature. So this is about the setting up a recurring series. So when people are booking, they're booking into multiple classes, and we're going to go through that now. To set up a series, first you'll need to create your class and then add class times. And once you've done that, you'll be able to click on create a series for this class. So you need those class times first because we're going to be selecting which ones are part of this series. Select that, and if we scroll down, we'll be able to create the name for the series. And a lot of times people set that as the same as the class name, but it depends on what you're offering. We'll copy over the class description, but you can update it if you need to change it for this series. And then we have two other settings to adjust. So the first one is, do we want to close the reservation for the series after the first class is started? So if you want people to have to attend the whole thing, you might want to select that option. Then we also have the option to link the series with a specific pass. So if you're going to require customers to purchase at the same time as booking, that's what we'll select here. And once we save that, we will have a series set up for that class. So you can go ahead and check it out, or from the classes page, you can just click on the series. And that'll give you the details of it. You'll see the classes that are included. But what we'll do right now, just to give you an idea of what it looks like for customers, is take a look at that public view. So here's our series. We're letting people know they'll be booking in for all of these times. And they're also required to purchase the pass in order to book. So they'll be booking and paying at the same time, making the series a really easy feature for anyone to use. So our series feature is really popular. It definitely adds an ease of use for people to book all those classes in one go and pay all at once. And that's where, creating the series pass, creating that linked pass is kind of important. So I also wanted to highlight what we'd recommend in terms of setting up a pass specifically for a series.
If you want to require payment for a series upfront, we're going to use the linked pass feature for series. So the first thing you're going to want to do is create that pass for the series that you want to offer. And this might be something that you create specifically for a series, or something that you want to reuse for multiple types of series if the rules for the pass are the same. You can add a pass description here. And then one of the big things that we'll want to do is set it to the same number of credits as there are sessions in the series. So this is, if there are 8 classes in the series, we'll set it as a 8 credit punch card. Set the price, so depending on what that is for you. You can set an expiration date for the pass as well, but one thing, if you're going to be reusing it for multiple series, then you might not want to do that. So it depends on what you're looking to offer, but one of the big things you're going to want to do is adjust the eligible classes. So you want to make sure it's eligible for the specific class type for this series. Here we go, and we'll set it to sell online. And we're going to allow everyone to purchase it, not just logged in customers. So we can make that pretty easy here. We'll save. And then either when you're editing the series or if you're creating the series, we'll go from the creation side of things today. But if you edit it, it's going to be very similar. Here we go. We have a class. It's all set up for us. We're just going to create the series now. Select the classes that are part of it. So everything that matches. Create the series name. But the big thing here is the link this session with a specific pass. So when we click that, we get the option to select pass from eligible passes for this class. And there's the one we just created. And we'll go ahead and click save. And we'll go check out our series now. So it'll let us know, okay, here's the linked pass. And I'm just going to quickly show the customer view. So if we're in the public side of things, looking at it as a customer, it's going to give us this series information, but more importantly, we have the payment. So they're going to have to purchase that pass in the process of signing up for this series. So you're getting the payment up front with our linked pass feature.
Okay. So those are some, kind of basics going into how to set up a series, how to set up a workshop, some of the payment options you have there. And definitely we have more involved how-tos. Those are just sort of overview videos. We have very in-depth how-tos. If you do have any questions about that, definitely reach out to us. We're definitely happy to share any of those to you on the specifics of setting up a one class time, or setting up a linked pass in a series. Also that ticketing feature, a nice, really in-depth video on that as well. So definitely reach out if any of that, sparks any questions or interest. So now we're going to take a look at one of the PunchPass users who's having a lot of success with series, and that's from Michael J. Yoga. I spoke to Michael about a lot of the series that he is offering through his business, and I thought it might be a good way to start, just kind of look at how someone else is doing it. Maybe you're going to pull an idea or two and kind of figure out how to make it your own. But I just thought it was a really interesting way to do it. And of course, I'm always impressed by some cool branding. So I really liked how Michael set up his Reboot 21 program, a 3-week program here. And as you can see, it's a mix of regular scheduled classes, sort of like ongoing classes with weekend specials and guest speakers who are going to be coming in and helping them, and as well as the VIP video library. I love how that sounds. Definitely a nice way to jazz up your recording content. But this is a really cool way to sort of focus on that reboot, get back into it, build those healthy habits conversation. And as we're seeing, 3 weeks might be a nice set amount of time for something like this. But Michael was able to bring in a personal trainer, a doctor, and a certified hypnotherapist, which is pretty cool, and maybe something that you wouldn't have thought of, but might be something that you could look around in your area and see if there's some other experts that do things that you wouldn't necessarily think that you could offer, but they could come in and be part of that for you. And in my conversation with Michael, we talked about a lot of different things in the way that he's finding success with this. But the takeaway I had from the conversation is definitely that this is a really great time to look at a series and to look at offering kind of like a course here, because it's definitely a time where maybe people aren't ready to commit to a weekly event forever. But, okay, this is an amount of time that I can commit to and I feel confident, I can do that. I think that's what we're seeing a lot, just in terms of current customer mindset. He was also, as I said, really found that 3-week sessions to be a good amount of time. But what they were offering was for every morning from 8 to 8:30, it was just 20 minutes of yoga and 10 minutes of meditation to sort of start the day off with a healthy physical practice and mindfulness aspect, which I think is a really great way to kind of combine that. And really like a short half-hour session every day is not too much time, but it's enough to kind of feel like you're doing something and you're making a change. And I think that's great. They also were making the recordings available for attendees. So maybe 8 to 8:30 is just not going to work out for some people. And normally that might be like, oh, well, I can't sign up for that. But if you make the recordings available and you say, hey, we're recording that. If you can't make it, you can check it out whenever, during the day is going to work for you. And that gives some flexibility to that. Yes, I'm committing, but there's some flexibility in terms of what I have to do as an attendee. As I said, they were doing weekend special sessions with experts. So I think that was a really nice way to, jazz it up, make it a bit more exciting by saying like, oh yeah, we're doing this practice. And then we're going to have these sort of special events sort of built into this 3 weeks community. And really it was a community. Michael was saying that this is really, something that kind of brought a lot of people together. They wanted to chat. They wanted to have discussions. They wanted to do these Q&As with the speaker, but still talk afterwards and talk together, brainstorm their healthy habits, have those discussions. And he said it was the closest to an in-person class feeling that he's had was by doing this kind of event, doing this kind of series. So that was something that I just thought was a really great way to look at it and kind of look at this as an opportunity and something that maybe you haven't considered yet, but might want to start thinking about, especially as we do want to think about bringing new customers in and bringing new people in. And this is a great way to get started. So now we're going to talk a little bit about marketing. So we build this whole great series, or we get this event scheduled. We brought in an expert. How do we get people to sign up? And that's where the marketing side comes in, right? So it's really about getting the word out there and communicating that this is happening to as many people as you can. And one of the key things you're going to want to do is grab that series link or that class link. So within PunchPass, there's the public URLs that are available that you can copy and paste and use those everywhere, right? That might be your new social media bio link. That might be something that you're going to want to post to all of your platforms, be it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you're using. It's a great way to kind of say, here's the link. Just really get that out there so that people are clicking on it when they're going to learn about you. If you do have your own website, that's awesome. It's another place where you can start highlighting this event. So definitely think about maybe getting a banner, something that highlights or comes in when they first go to your website. Maybe that's the first pop-up that happens, or something exciting and gets them interested on clicking on that, right? You want to highlight that this event or series is happening to engage with people who are just going to your website. Maybe for other reasons, but maybe this is just the best way to get started. Think about your social media posts. This is another example from Michael, but I really liked how they got that into that Instagram square, right? And think about kind of the layout you might want to do, or pictures might want to use something that's a little bit different from your regular posts. Again, kind of highlighting like, this is a special event, this is a special series we're offering, and really just, highlighting that on social media, I think is a great way to, again, get the word out, right? Can also use Facebook to create an event. This is another way to connect with a lot of people, is by going to your profile and adding an event. Once you create that for your series or workshop, you can then invite everyone you know, especially if this is an online event. Everyone can join, so you can really invite everyone so that they get a notification about it. It's a nice way to kind of bring some knowledge to it. And Facebook does have ways to do more advertising, so that's there for you if you want it. Another great tool that you can use from PunchPass is sending out targeted emails. So certainly you can go to your customer list and send out a nice email to everyone, right? You can email everyone through your PunchPass account. And that's great. You can send out an email to everyone. But if you're looking for a targeted approach, maybe you're looking to bring back certain people, or maybe you're looking to find the right messaging to get more people interested. This is where the report section can come in handy, because I could go into my, specific pass details report and pull everyone who's ever purchased my intro class, right? Maybe I can just pull that particular pass, or people who have attended an event I've run in the past, but maybe we haven't seen them, but we know they've attended an event. So maybe it's saying a specific, once you pull that report, you can separate those people out and say, just to them, we hope you enjoyed our last event. We're hosting a new one. We thought you might be interested in joining us again. Or maybe you're looking at, this is an event that is hosted by a specific instructor. And if you go into your instructor's report for that instructor, you can pull everyone who's attended their class. So you might say, hey, we know you like taking this particular class with Kelsey, and if you wanted to take more and get more involved with Kelsey's teaching, here's a new workshop or series that is happening, and sign up here, right? Use that link. Or maybe it's people in our customer attendances report. You can pull everyone who's attended in the last 6 months or in the last 12 months, and pull all those people. They seem to be maybe the most active and likely to sign up. Maybe that's who you're sending that email out to. So definitely use that reporting area. It's a great way to do that. And also consider making an announcement during your regular classes. So you, and if you have any other instructors, should before or at the end of class do a little reminder. Hey everyone, we're doing a special event. Definitely reach out to me if you want to sign up, or go to our website. So just a reminder to the people that you're seeing regularly, like, hey, this is happening, and hopefully they'll sign up for it too. Another option when it comes to getting people excited and interested and maybe signing up a little sooner is offering some kind of discount. So, we're not always looking to cut out our pricing, but if you're setting something up that's 2 months in advance, you might be worried about putting that out there, and then, you get everyone interested, but it's 2 months later and maybe they're like, oh, well, we'll sign up, we have plenty of time. One thing you could do is set up what we're going to show here is an early bird discount. And we'll show you how that works with PunchPass and our Stripe integration.
If you want to entice customers to sign up for your series or workshop early, what we might want to do is add a discount code and create a discount code for the specific pass that we're offering for the class or series. We'll go ahead and add a new discount code. It needs to be, all upper letters and one word, no special characters, just so that you know that. So we'll just call this early bird, and then we can add a percentage discount. So maybe we're adding, 10% if you sign up at a certain point. So here's where the expiration date comes in. So if you want people to be able to use that, but only until a certain time, maybe, a week before the class, something along those lines, you might want to say, hey, we're going to set that up to expire. You could also limit the total number that can be redeemed. So if you're saying the first 5 people who sign up get the discount. That's another way to set that up. And we'll go ahead and create the discount code. Once it's created, we're going to click into that, and we can adjust the eligible passes or ticketed classes. So we can clear all if we want. That's what we're going to do here. So if we're doing a workshop, we could just apply that to a ticketed class. Or if we're doing a series, we might want to go in and adjust that for the series pass. And if we'll go ahead and do that here. And let's take a look at that series now. We'll go ahead and go into our classes. Here is our series. And we'll see now that there is an area for the discount code. So we can apply that discount, and we'll see that when they're going to sign up for the series. So that's how you might want to offer an early bird discount for a series or workshop.
So the early bird option is kind of nice. You could use discount codes for events in a lot of different ways, right? That's just kind of one example, but is a nice way to get people to maybe sign up a little earlier, right? Get that money in early, and then you'll have the event. But another thing you could do, we definitely have talked about this previously in our memberships webinar. If you have ongoing members and you're really worried about retaining them, maybe one of the things you do is offer them a discount code for your special events. So that might be something that you offer already, or you'd consider offering if you're working on maintaining those memberships. That might be something that you'd like to highlight or set up a discount code for. But it's definitely a nice option in terms of what you can do and entice people to sign up and get excited about your event, about your workshop. I think that's definitely a nice option and something to consider.
If you want.
All right. So once you've done your event, we have a whole nother potential revenue stream here just waiting for you to use it. We can resell the content that we've created already, right? So if you are doing, I guess, online mostly, but certainly if you record things that are happening in your studio, that's another option too. But if you're recording them, then you have this nice opportunity, right? You could upload them to a collection in your content library, and that's something that you can sell. So whether it's maybe you made those recordings available to the people who were part of the workshop or series, but there's an expiration on that, right? Maybe they have it for a week beyond the event. But maybe for $25, you can get all the recordings forever. And that might be another way to kind of add revenue. And that doesn't have to just be the attendees. It could also be people who didn't sign up, right? You could say, hey, people who weren't able to make it or didn't commit, we have all the recordings, you can purchase them. And this is a newer feature for PunchPass in our content library. So just to let you know, now when you go into your passes or your memberships, you can adjust the content collection. So from the library, you can group different videos or documents, right? So if you're doing files with nutrition plans, that might be another thing you'd want to make part of that collection, and you can adjust for each of your passes what they have access to. So for this example, we might be set up a collection just for the January reboot, and then we have a January reboot pass for the recordings, and people can just purchase that as they will, and it's sort of a passive revenue stream after you've put in the work for your workshops and series. So there's another opportunity here. And if you haven't sort of played around with the content library, you're not sure about that just yet, definitely reach out. We have another webinar all about the content library. So that's another opportunity too to check out. But it's something where you're putting in the work and the effort, and now it can kind of help you out on the back end too. So there's a lot of opportunity here when it comes to workshops, when it comes to series, the recordings, the type of content you'd like to offer, how you're going to price it, how you're going to set it up. Is it a daily thing? Is it a weekend event? Is it a one day only, just this one time? We're doing this special thing. We're having a special speaker. There's so many different opportunities out there, but we hope you'll take advantage of it. We hope you'll look into it. And before we finish up, I'd definitely like to see if we have any questions here. All right. So we have a question about wanting to offer a workshop in the studio and through Zoom, and how to set that up in PunchPass. And so, there is, there is a way to do this in PunchPass, but you do have to set up 2 instances of the classes, and there's a couple good reasons for that. One, we want to make sure that if people are booking, especially in this time, they know they're not just automatically getting put into one or the other, and they're not sure. They're definitely selecting, I want to go into the studio, or I want to join the Zoom version of the workshop. Because, a lot of times people are like, oh, we should do first come, first serve, but some people aren't ready to go back into a studio right now. And so they would like to do it from home, and having 2 separate instances does give them that option. It also allows you to set the size limit for the classes. So if it's an in-person, you might have a strict limit on how many people you can have, but for online with Zoom, you want to make that available. So right now with PunchPass, we would definitely recommend you can set that up, but setting them up as 2 separate classes. Okay, so there's a lot of good questions. What is the benefit? So someone wrote in saying, what's the benefit for saying to sell the pass for logged in customers only versus everyone? And actually, this is something really specific that I find for series and events, because I think there's a really nice benefit to having having customers log in if they're going to be your regular weekly customers for those passes. I think that's kind of nice to say, hey, if you're going to sign up for a 10 class punch card or unlimited membership, like, you need a login. You need a login in PunchPass. That's a nice feature. For series and events, I often don't want to force a login, because a lot of this is for getting new people in, right? We want to get people who are excited and new and potentially, haven't experienced anything with you before. And I think the easier it is for them to sign up, pay, and book into your class, the better. And so that's kind of where I might say, hey, let people purchase that series and get set up without a login. They can, anytime they go back, they can create an account. You could definitely promote that to them and say, here's how you create an account once they sign up for the class. But it's kind of nice to just give them the option to say, here's a way to do that. Here's a way to just book right away without having to log in first, is kind of nice. We do have a question about prorating a series. So right now, with the series pass and the way that the linked pass feature works, when they're signing up for a series, they are paying that amount. So there's not a proration included there. Something that you could use the discount code feature for is perhaps, once you have one session going and there's another option. Certainly you could change the linked pass to a different pass, or you could include a discount code in the pass description or in the class description to let them know, hey, this series has already started, here's a discount code, and that could be something that you add. I have a great question here about wanting to do a series of 3 classes, but not making attendance to all 3 mandatory. However, if you want to do all 3, there's a discount. It's a great question. What I would recommend is not setting it up as a series, because the series is really about you pay this amount and you get booked into all these classes, which is great. But in this instance, it seems like that most people are probably going to be attending 1 or 2. And so what I would recommend doing is having, either setting up ticketing for each individual one, and then having a pass for all 3, right? For 3 credits, that's a discounted price. And as long as with ticketing, if you want to allow a pass to get access, you can make that eligible after you turn on ticketing. And so people can purchase that pass and then book into all 3, or they could individually book into each ticketed class. that's what I would do. Certainly, you could just create a separate pass for the individual ones, but I like that ticketing feature. I think it's cool. Here we go. This is a great question. How do you run 2 workshops at the same time through Zoom? And unfortunately, Zoom does have some limitations. Zoom, if you have a single Zoom account, you don't have the ability to create concurrent class meeting times within Zoom. So we are limited by that. However, something you could certainly do, or something that might be easy, is setting them up, and you could either use our manual online tool. So if you're not integrated with Zoom for PunchPass, you can add a manual link. So you could use 2 different Zoom accounts and add a manual link to the class, or you could email the class the other link, right? So if you don't set it to create its own link, you could easily message all the participants and say, this is the link you're going to be using. So if you need to work around that Zoom limitation, that's what I would recommend. Right, they just responded, would you need 2 Zoom accounts? Yes, Zoom doesn't, it's a limitation of Zoom. They don't allow you to run 2 meetings at the exact same time. So you might want to think about, is having it at the exact same time very imperative? Because that would be, kind of a decision making for you. So you could have 2 separate Zoom accounts, or you might want to set up your timing to be a little bit different so that you can just use the same Zoom account. Great question. If a new student comes to an online workshop without logging in, how do they get the Zoom link? So we provide the Zoom link in a couple different ways. One is, depending on how far out the class is, they might get the Zoom link in their email confirmation. So that's great if it's kind of closer to the class time. They'll get it right in the email confirmation. We also send out a reminder 20 minutes before the class, and you can turn on a reminder either 1, 2, or 3 days before the class starts. So that's something I definitely recommend for online classes, because the more opportunities that they get the link, the easier it is for your customers. And then also, that's just, they don't have to create a login when they're signing up for the particular workshop or class. You could definitely, after people have signed up, send out a reminder and say, hey, here's how to create your login. It's really easy. And here's the link, right, to do that. So that might be something where you'd like to if you're prioritizing book and pay, and then we'll deal with the other stuff later. That's how I'd recommend setting that up. So we did have a question about copying a class so that you could take one class and then copy it and just have it replicated so that you could set one for online and set one for in person. We don't have that feature right now. I can certainly reach out to our tech team and see if that's something that they'd be interested in. We do have a request board, so that's probably where I'll add that, and we'll keep an eye on that for you. See if I missed anything here. Yeah, so just to reiterate with Series is currently, it's really about getting booked into all of the sessions at once, which is kind of nice. So your customers don't have to book into each individual session. But if you do want to allow individual access, that's where I'd look at setting up the individual classes. And then you can definitely use a discount code or create separate passes. So maybe one pass is for 1 day, and you have a separate pass that's at a bit of a discount for 2 days. And that would be how I would recommend setting that up. All right. To confirm, if you sign up without a login to a workshop, they're still going to receive the email with the Zoom link. That's correct. The login feature is really for customers to get access to their account. It doesn't prevent them from booking unless you want it to prevent them from booking, right? So that's why it's really easy to force a login for your regular classes and say, right, you want to make sure maybe you want to set it up so that they require a pass in order to book. But with a series or a ticketed workshop, at the point of booking, they're paying. So sometimes it's easier to just say, let's get them to book and pay, and then we can get them logged in and tell them about the logins later. Just again, you could certainly still require a login first if you want. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if we're focused, it kind of depends on your focus, right? If your focus is on getting those new people to just break out the credit card and book in the class, then that's sort of what I recommend. But obviously, we make it super flexible for you to make that choice. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone. This has been a really engaging chat, and I'm super excited about that because I know everyone's super interested. Oh, lovely follow-up question. If someone books without a login, they won't have a waiver. So that's correct. However, if you don't force a login or force the waiver before they book, and they book a class, PunchPass automatically sends them a message to sign the waiver. So that's actually kind of built into the way the waiver feature works. So yes, you can require them to log in, but we'll also remind them, and then that'll be really nice and clear. And you'll also be able to see on your reservation page. So if you see the list of reservations for that class or that series, you'll see if they haven't signed the waiver. We have a little red pen that highlights that they haven't signed the waiver. So make sure that you know, right? And make sure that you can always contact them before, but we do remind them. So that's good. Thanks everyone for the awesome questions. This has been really great. Definitely, if you have more questions, you can always reach out to us. Very easy to reach out to us at hello@punchpass.com or info@punchpass.com, or sign into your PunchPass page or go to punchpass.com and just start a chat with us. We're here to help. Again, we're going to be sending out this recording, so if you want to go back to it, you definitely can. And I just want to say thank you all so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. We're really excited about all the different features we have to offer, and we hope this will help you in your business kind of brainstorm what this year is going to look like for you. So if you, again, have any other questions, reach out. Hope you're all happy, healthy, and safe, and we're wishing you the best. Thanks so much.